Here we are with Drake Sansone at the Nakamura Chiropractic and Acupuncture Clinic in Schaumburg. And Drake, your first visit here was not as a patient. You work for the Postal Service, and
Yes.
and you came just a couple of times to
Right.
drop some mail off. You're a floater, meaning you have a lot of different routes depending on what's needed with the post office. When was it that you started to look into coming in here in a different capacity as a patient?
Probably about 6 months before I actually
Okay.
began.
So around early '08, late '07,
Yeah,
and
something like that.
and what was troubling you that prompted
I
that?
have a neck injury that I had incurred at work, and back injury that I incurred at work also, but it was about 20 years ago, a different capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they were both flaring up, and I did some research on Dr. Nakamura, asking different people at different locations that I frequent,
Right.
and they all pointed to Dr. Nakamura and said
Right.
he's excellent and has a family history in the business and everything. So that really pretty much sold me on him. And then delivering mail here a couple of times, he was always too busy to speak. So but I did get a chance to meet him once, and he struck me as a very nice guy
Right.
and everything. And I said, okay, I'll give him a shot.
Right.
I'll give him a shot.
So June of '08, you came
Yes.
in, and what was your initial experience?
He's incredibly thorough,
Mm-hmm.
friendly, thorough. Really does care about the patients.
Mm-hmm.
And I do mean everything, not just physical, but emotional. What's going on?
Right.
How are you eating? Daily activities, how those affect your life. And he just struck me as someone that was all around a healer.
Right. And what were some of the early returns on the treatment you received?
Initially, it was just an incredible relief. I didn't even realize I was in pain.
Right.
But there was a relief and a general, just a sense of well-being. And the more that Dr. Nakamura treated me, and the more I followed his directions and did what I needed to do as a patient to facilitate his healing process, the better I seem to get.
Yeah.
And the better I feel. And
Right. And you're married. You have children.
Yes.
And how many children overall?
I have 3.
3, all girls.
Yes.
And in the 20s and teens?
26, 22, and 16.
Okay. And so quality of life for you over the last year, they're not toddlers, you're not running around chasing them at this point, but in terms of your lifestyle, day-to-day life, what kind of impact has coming here had for you?
Well, to be honest with you, just to be able to help my daughter, my youngest daughter, with her art projects, to be able to actually do things around the house without having to stop every 5 minutes, or
Right.
Calling my children out to give me a hand. Especially with girls, they really don't want to help dad. They really don't.
Sure.
And in general, just being the man of the house and being a householder and a husband and a dad. So
Right.
It's nice to be able to cut my own food.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and hold your wife's hand.
Yes.
Tell me about that. What changed to allow you to now be able to do those seemingly simple things?
Well, I had incurred my neck injury on the job, and my spine was actually in a vague S formation, my neck, and it was impacting on the nerves, and I had actually ripped some of the nerves. And those nerve endings had regrown to a certain point, but had stopped. And I only had about, I want to say about 70% of the use of my right hand. And through Dr. Nakamura, granted it's a slow, gradual process, but I'm probably up to about 90% now, whereas it was pretty bad before.
Right.
I can hold a hammer.
Yeah, that's pretty pivotal when you're wanting to do work around the house as you're
Right.
doing this week.
Yes.
So, for anyone that might be skeptical, as Americans tend to be and ought to be, especially in matters relating to their health, what would your advice be as they assess anyone in this field, and in particular Dr. Nakamura?
Uh, First off, as a patient, you have to do as much as you possibly can to help Dr. Nakamura or help whomever you happen to be seeing by doing exercises, by doing stretching, by whatever is prescribed,
Right.
changing a diet,
Mm-hmm.
what have you.
Yep.
Um, you have to do whatever you can do to help your body heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not taking a pill.
Mm-hmm.
It's your body actually working for itself,
Mm-hmm.
going through the natural healing process. And everybody's body is different, so everyone's results are different. But over the long haul, you're looking at no drugs,
Mm-hmm.
no adverse side effects.
And those are all things that you experienced before.
Yes, with drugs and pain drugs,
Mm-hmm.
steroids, what have you,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they use.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't recommend Dr. Nakamura enough for really promoting natural healing,
Mm-hmm.
and looking beyond just the physical into the
Mm-hmm.
emotional,
Right.
just daily stresses of the life, everything else,
Right.
mental. As my old kung fu teacher used to say, body to mind, mind to body.
Mm-hmm.
What affects one affects the other, so it's a circular thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely what Dr. Nakamura subscribes to.
Right.
So,
Excellent. Well, Drake, thanks so much for taking the time. You've been really terrific. I appreciate it.
my pleasure.